4, 3, 2, 1, action. Hi guys, thanks for taking the class. Welcome to this was our 2-hour kind of technique and drills that you get to practice at home to work on your centering for putting rides and slides and glides into your dancing. So we talked about, first of all, kind of making sure that when you get into this position to pick a leg that you're committing to. So if I'm on my left, I'm going to shift to my right. And I'm going to shift back to my leg, right? We did single counts. We did double counts where I take 2 counts to get to the right, 2 counts to get to the left. We also did 4 counts. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We talked about making sure that when you do the 4 counts, that you don't go 1 and land with the heel. So start with the ball of the foot, pull the shoulder back, send the hip forward, get into the ball of the foot, use that momentum to get there. Then the last count is when you should touch the heel. Then you do the same thing for the next count. 1, 2, 3, I land on 4. And we kind of did a little bit of exercise. We had you go to the side for 2, to the side for 2. We had you going back for 2 and back for 2. We talked about sliding and gliding for leaders. We talked about getting here and pulsing a little bit. Followers, we talked about sliding, dropping the knee, and kind of beveling a little bit. When we talked about rolling the shoulders, right? If we're going to the side, we're swinging that momentum up. I'm swinging that up. I'm swinging that up. When I'm back, I'm swinging it back. So a lot of you asked me during the break, should my body go with my hip? Absolutely. So if my hip is going forward, then my swing should go forward. If my hip is going back, then my swing should go back, right? Because then it would feel really weird if I'm doing the opposite. We talked about taking your steps forward on single counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I talked about moving your shoulders a little bit. Followers, for you, I talked about pulling that shoulder back 1, as opposed to doing 1 contra body, because that's a really weird position to do 2 walks. So when you're selling your walks, followers, pull your shoulder back 1, pull your shoulder back for 2. But if you notice, my right shoulder is still going forward with the right leg. Just my left shoulder gets pulled a little bit back to give me a styling, as opposed to just walking square. Yeah? The same thing when you're walking back, right? We talked about rotating the shoulders back as opposed to just stepping back. We talked about when you're pushing off of your feet, right? Whether you're pushing to go forward or whether you're pushing to go back, you still should keep the momentum on that leg. Do not reach. Send the hip and the leg action back, as opposed to me stepping and then sliding, stepping and then sliding. So I'm sending the weight. The action is that I'm sending my hip forward. The reaction is that my leg drags behind. It drags behind. The action is that I'm sending and my leg drags. So the reaction is the sliding to kind of get that. We then talked about making sure that if you're gonna walk backwards on count 4, and I had you guys do, really painful walks, walking forward for 4. I had you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure that as you're stepping back, again, you're stepping back 1, 2, 3, land 4. Then back for 5, 6, 7, 8. Try not to go 1 and then have to move the body. We talked about sending your body up a little bit to kind of get more shaping out of that. Followers, we talked about you can always drop your shoulders, right? If your elbows are up, you pretend that you have weight, so they always come back in, right? They just don't drop down. They always retract in. We talked about those things that you land on the card to swipe, right? That has elastics. So if my arm comes up, goes back in. We talked about your hands generally swing in the direction that you're gonna go, or they swing in the opposites. If I'm gonna do a lunge forward, I can pull my shoulders back, right? I can get here and I can pull them back, and then I can pull them forward if I'm sending my body back. So you can go in the direction of your body, leaders, or you can go opposite with the hands. If my body is forward, my hands are pushing back. My body is back, my hands are pushing forward, right? So we talked about that. Then we did kind of movements for you to practice your centering for turning. We did where you step on the right foot, and I want you to practice quarter turns. Quarter turns. We talked about dropping that shoulder to give you more of a nice send across. We talked about not prepping and then going, because that's too much. We talked about practicing this at home. Get on one foot, bring it in, count 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, take your time going up and down. Switch your feet. Leaders, we had you practice where if you're doing a turn for the followers, you're always going to make sure that you step across. Step and step. You're going to move your body and step, as opposed to going and step, move. Right? That's the bad way to do it. When you're turning or following to a ride, I'm always going to take the step and open up that shoulder. So when my right foot lands, that shoulder opens up. Right? Follows. This also occurs if the leaders are going for a ride. You're going to make sure that you always keep that leg inside, whether it's to the right side or whether it's to the left side. You're always going to keep that foot in there. We talked about Superman, right? So if you're taking 3 steps, 1, 2. As I go into my 3, I'm going to take my 3. I'm going to go to the ball of the foot. I'm going to send my body up like Superman and then back. Again, the action is going forward. The reaction is back. We talked about not bending the knee so much, not taking your shoulder forward over your body. Again, if you notice, my body is going up to grab something and then back down, as opposed to me reaching for something, right? Very different, yeah? And then we generally talked about if you're doing single patterns or single walks, that there should be a pulse, right? So I'm not doing this, right? There's always a pulse. And I had you either snap, out, you could tap your leg if you want to, but there's always a pulsing of the knee that happens, right? 1 and 2, 3 and 4, as opposed to, good. The most important piece about this is that I want you guys to practice going from one side of the body to the other side of the body. Then you can add the slides if you want to. You can pulse it up if you choose to, right? We talked about pulsing it up. But, you know, make it where you're comfortable. So if you're going up and you're going back down, don't reach, because then you're going to be too pitched forward, right? And stepping back. So go here, step right underneath yourself. So you should be able to transfer the weight back and forth so it's nice and easy, especially when you're doing any kind of slides and rides. Good? Awesome job. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Good job, guys.